Hi Simon, how are you doing?
Hi, Samuel.
Nice to see you. First of all, I would like to thank you for taking this time to speak to us about you, your company, what you're doing, what you're bringing to the space. We're doing a series of interviews for MRI Safety Week. You're actually our second interview, and I'm very excited to tell the community who you are and what you're doing because you are a partner of our company as well. We work together in a few projects, and I'm very proud to have you on board with us and to be on board with you. So just tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, how you create this Nordinsight company, and just tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
All right. First of all, Samuel, thank you so much for having me on this interview. Yeah, we have been working on a couple of projects, and it's super exciting. Also, getting like the startup spirit for you from you. So it's perfect. Thank you so much for having us. So, where did it all begin? So, it actually started 2 years ago when I was still studying my master's degree in health informatics. I took this entrepreneurial course where we had to learn about the Stanford bioinnovation process, about making startup within healthcare. And during that time, we had to go out in the field and make some research. And I ended up in a radiology department. And I have no radiology experience at all, but we should just sit and observe what radiologists and radiographers was doing. And during those weeks, I encountered multiple times that patient came in with implants, and the radiographer was not informed on that implant. And then I saw them using Google in trying to find the safety protocols. And I don't think Google belongs on a radiology department or even just in the hospitals like that. So I was curious, asking them, why are you using Google? And they said, we don't have any other good resource in finding these safety protocols because sometimes the instruction for user are with the implant, but of course it's going to be tossed away when they're doing the operation. And then you have to find it in an online version. And sometimes you can be lucky to find it on Google, on the implant manufacturer website, but it took a long time. And we actually found out that it took about 10 to 120 minutes each day for each radiographer in finding these safety protocols. So a huge amount of time spent on Googling. So our first solution to that was actually putting microchips on implants.
Okay.
So you could use like a handheld device from the outside and then scan the patient body and then found out what the patient have inside. So you can identify it, but you can also then get the information about how to MRI scan this specific implant. So I wrote my master's thesis on this problem, and I did it with 3 radiology departments, and we went out and did some quantitative studies with NFC tags we put on the closing and made some mock-up apps and stuff like that. And we quickly found out that in theory, if it worked, it could work pretty well. But sometimes you really have to find out about the implants before the patient is even booked. So during the referral part and the visitation parts. So we could solve some of the problems, but not all of the problems. And that was on the workflow side of things, and also on the hardware side. It didn't work either. We tried to contact Bill Gates on how to put microchips in people, but he didn't want to tell us about that.
Maybe you should have
So
tried
there's some
Elon Musk.
hardware problems. Yeah, there are some hardware problems also with that solution. So after that, we thought about making an implant database where you could easily access implant information through a web browser like you're using Google, and also getting the implant manufacturers involved. So they actually go in and updates and also verifies the implants in our database. And that's what I think is going to make us unique in this place, because we're going to be like a centralized database working together with implant manufacturers. And hopefully in the future, we are going to integrate into multiple systems like MRI machines or patient health records or even booking systems in order to automate stuff. So that was about the history and what we're doing, and also about like the future.
That's wonderful. I remember when we first talked about this, I was amazed with the project that you have in hands, because we struggle with these things every single day. Even last week, I had a patient with a gastric band, and she had no clue what gastric band she had. And we had to do x-rays to try to find out. It took us a long time to actually get into any of the information that we needed. So when we had that first conversation, for me, it was amazing because you bring something to the market that I believe is extremely necessary at this point, and it's going to be extremely helpful for all the radiographers around the world. I know you have already some hospitals using your technology, and I'm very keen to bring that to UK. So for everyone listening to us, I think they should contact you and talk to you, because I think the technology that you're bringing, it's very, very important. I have one tiny question about where does the name of your company comes from, Nordinsight? For me, was like I was always interested about this, and can
Yeah.
you just tell us where it comes from?
Okay, Samuel. When you're going to find a name for your startup, it takes so much time finding the right names, and we had some crazy names because we wanted like a unique name also, but then we were in the healthcare space, and then we needed maybe a more conservative name. So we were like, can we maybe combine some where we're from, like in the Nordics, in the north, and maybe also we provide insights to people, like insight into MRI safety. And then we thought, okay, we are just going to be Nordinsight, because there were so many things we have to do during that period. So we were just, we have to settle on one name and then just move forward. So maybe one day we're going to have a rebrand. But yeah, that's where the name came up.
Thank you very much. So just tell me a little bit about how your platform works, actually. How can, for example, a radiographer as myself, sitting down, having a patient coming to me, there's an implant. How do I use your platform? Where do I use it? And I know some hospitals are already using it. So what kind of feedback have you been having from them? If you can just share a little bit about that with us, that would be
Yeah, of
awesome.
course. Yeah. So our database is very easy to use because you can just use it with whatever browser you have. So you go into our database and log in, and then there's a big search field right in the middle where you can search for different kinds of things. You can search for, of course, types, serial numbers. You can search for specific names. But we have also enabled a semantic search option where you can search for like hip implant. And then we will actually find all the implants associated with a total hip replacement. And that is actually a pretty cool machine learning algorithm that we have built. So that's because we have gotten a lot of feedback from the hospitals. Like sometimes you don't know exactly what you need to search for. You just need maybe an overview of a group of implants, or I know this patient have gotten like a heart surgery. What if I just type in heart surgery? Like what are the conditions for those types of implants? And you can actually do that in our database. So it's extremely easy to use. We also have some other features. So if you know that the patient have a coronary stent, for example, and you don't know like the specific manufacturer, you can actually go in and click off a coronary stent. Then you will be shown all the coronary stents and the most restrictive conditionals based on that entire list of implants.
So basically, you can sorry to interrupt you, Simon. So basically, that allows you actually to scan off label as well, because you can just find the kind of implant you might have, what are the worst conditions, and if you can be below those conditions, you can actually scan off label those patients. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can actually make some data-based, data-backed solutions or decisions on how to scan the patient safely. Because we have heard a lot of departments having like, okay, coronary stents, we can just scan those at 3 Tesla, no problem at all. But if you really look into the data and you really use our filter search options, you will actually find that sometimes you just can't do that based on the manufacturer's conditionals. So you can actually make more informed decisions on your department on how to scan patients with what can say unknown implants with our conditional finder. And the feedback that we have gotten from the hospitals have been pretty amazing. We have concluded that we can free up time. We can make the technicians more confident in their work, so they feel more secure in MRI scanning patients with implants. But actually also making the communications between the technicians and the radiologists better, because technicians have a lot of knowledge about MRI safety, and sometimes the radiologists do not. And our database and platform can actually help that. Those two can actually communicate better on MRI safety, and that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Wonderful. So if you had to specify some features that differentiates you from your competition or differentiates you from other people that might be trying to do the same. For example, we know about the list that everyone uses.
Yeah.
What do you think makes you and your company worth for us to use more than, for example, just Google the list? I understand you already told me a lot of advantages, but in your own words, what do you think Nordinsight is bringing to the game that I think it's wonderful for you?
Yeah, and first off, big shout out to Frank Schillick from the list. Did an amazing job, and we have spoken with him multiple times. He's such a good man. But I think what makes us better than, for example, Google or MRI Safety the List is that we actually provide also the source document of the MRI conditionals for each protocol. So we always have the documents, the source document from the conditionals from the vendor with every protocol that we have. But also we are collaborating with implant manufacturers. So they actually go in, keeps the protocols updated, and also verifies the documents. And what we have heard is it's of tremendous value because you can really trust the information that you find on our database. And I think the other major advantages is our filter system, where you can filter for different kinds of implants. And let's say a patient have multiple implants. In our filter, you can add multiple filters to the search. So you can actually add both an aneurysm clip, you can add a pacemaker, you can add a coronary stent to the search, and then you will actually get the most restrictive conditionals based on those sets of implants. And we hopefully this can give a radiographer's better overview of how to scan patients more safely. Because we see more and more active implants, more and more MRI scans, and even stronger MRI scanners also in the future.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
I think we spoke before about one of the features about having the specs of your own scanner on your list. So I think I don't know if you already have that implanted. I believe you do. And I think that's one of the great advantages that you have on your platform. Would you like to elaborate on that one? Because I also think it works very well, at least from my point of view.
So it was actually pretty cool because the first time we spoke together, you brainstormed of a lot of features and ideas that will be great for the UK market. And one of them was having the MRI scanner settings for all the MRI scanners on your site in the database, so you can see like which MRI scanners you have, but also which implants are compatible with which MRI scanners, so you can actually get a visible overview. So right now you can input your MRI scanner settings, but we have not made the link to also so you can see like the visual of what implant can go into which MRI scanner. But we definitely working on that. But I remember also another feature you suggested, and that was printing the protocols.
Absolutely.
So that feature we have also implemented, so you can print the protocol, but you can also add the patient's name or any other descriptions to the implant to the printed page. So when you print it, you have all the information. You don't have to handwrite anything, and then you can put it into the archive with the patient's information.
Absolutely, yeah, sounds good because most of the people need that information to be on the PAC system, so we can actually reproduce the scan later on, and we don't have to research it again. So if we can actually print it, That's great. So I heard as well, you told me before that you already have an agreement with a big manufacturer. I don't know if you're allowed to say anything about it, but can you tell us a little bit more how you're working with that manufacturer, and if you have any other big names in the horizon planned for the next few months or for the next year?
Yeah, so the implant manufacturer that we're working with right now is called PNN Medical. It's actually a Danish implant manufacturer. And right now, they actually went into our database and verified all the implants in our database. So you will see like a small tag verified by PNN Medical. It's super cool, and they were just thrilled to have like a centralized database where they could actually provide this information, because they are spending a lot of time answering radiographers' emails on how to scan their implants. And even though they also had a platform on their website, they still think it's a great idea that one database like combines all the safety information in one place. And we're also speaking with all the other big ones like Medtronic and Johnson & Johnson and Boston Scientific, but it's pretty difficult to find like the right people in those organizations in order to help us. We have found some pretty cool ones. I think that will be news in a short while. What's going on there? But also, if any of you guys know some of those people working at the big implant manufacturer vendors, please contact us.
I
We really
think
want to collaborate with them all.
also very beneficial for them, because as you're saying, a lot of radiographers just call them, keep calling the customer services and keep calling their sales reps, and what they want to do is do sales. They don't want to be trying to say, oh, you can scan this or you can scan that. And some of them actually have an issue to tell you if it's safe or not, because they should not be the ones advising you according to safety. They can tell you what their labels actually mean, but at the end of the day, you are the one deciding if we're scanning that patient or not. So I think it's beneficial for them as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see more names being added to your platform. I think it would be very, very useful in the future for everyone. I would like to ask you a few more things.
Exactly.
What is the role that you think these kind of platforms like yours can play on the future of MRI safety? Because we are struggling. I had a conversation a few days ago with Doug Boyd. He's a very well-known teacher and lecturer, and he was telling me that MRI safety is getting worse and worse. And my question is, I spoke to him about education, and now I'm talking to you about your platform, because I think your platform is going to be very useful for everyone. In your point of view, as a non-clinical person like us, from the IT side as well, how do you see your company playing a role in the MRI safety panorama of these days?
Yeah, so I think there's two sides. There's like the immediate effect, like what can we do right now to help MRI safety? And that is with our database, providing a platform that's easy to use, easy to search for. You can search in many different terms in order to get an overview of how to scan patients, but also providing like the education of we have a lot of like MRSO features in our platform, where the MRSO can communicate with the department, leaving comments on protocols, pre-verifying protocols for like maybe the newer technicians coming into the department, so they know like what can we scan here,
So
what
it's
can
kind
we not
of
scan here.
interactive platform as well.
Exactly,
Okay,
yeah. So you
wonderful.
can do different things as an MRSO in our platform. But that's like the effect right now that we can provide. And it has some impact. But what we're seeing is we have a future vision of our database integrating with MRI machines, integrating with patient health records. So if you could imagine like a MRI machine that's going to adjust itself accordingly to implants that the patient have.
Got it.
Automatically, so you don't have to have that worry later on. And you can automate many of these things, and also booking the patient the right booking the patient right the first time, so you don't have like patient rejections and all of that. That can actually be provided by our database in the future, because we're going to look into maybe some clinical decision tools and couple that with our knowledge on how to scan the implants. I think we're going to play a major role in automating many of these processes because there is going to come a lot more patients and there's not coming a lot more radiographers. So I think in order to help you guys, we need to automate many of these very time-consuming
Yeah, I agree. I
tasks.
think AI is going to play a role in all of this that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is extremely exciting for me as well. And one of the main problems is the aging of population, which brings more people with more implants. And as you just said correctly, we are going through a situation where there's a huge lack of radiographers in Europe, in the US, in all over the world. There's a huge lack of radiographers, and that's why also the remote scanning kind of thing is gaining some strength. One last thing, I don't know if it's possible, but would you be keen to show a little bit of your platform, share your screen slightly? Is that possible? If not, that's fine. But I think it would be interesting for everyone to see what we're talking about, at least just a glimpse of what we've been talking for the last 30 minutes. And then just tell us where we can find it. What's the link? How can we connect with you? And I believe we go from there.
Yeah, let's do it. So you can see the database right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, as you can see, you can just access our database through a normal browser. Right now I'm in Safari because I'm on a Mac. And as I told you before, we have our search field right here in the middle. And here you can search for different types of implant. Let's search for a stent. And here you can see all the different kinds of stents that we have in our database. We have a lot of different ones. And you can see up here that these are actually verified by the implant manufacturer that I mentioned.
That's the one you mentioned before. Yeah, they verified it already on your platform.
PNN Medical. Yeah, exactly. So here you can see this is verified by PNN Medical. You can save it to the bookmarks. You can, of course, also find the source document, the electronic instruction for user. And then we, of course, have the...
That document is very useful because usually we go on Google and we find the name of the implant and the conditions, but we don't find the actual manufacturer PDF file. And it takes us another half an hour to find it. So when you have it here, I think it's extremely useful because you basically just typed it and it's already there. We just have to download it and then scan it to our PACS and RE system. So I think it's extremely useful for everyone.
Exactly. And that's also why I think we are different than other implant databases. And so you can search here and find all these informations for all kinds of implants. As you can see, we also we have a lot of implants from PNN Medical, and also maybe I can show you the instruction for user here. So as you also can see, it's a very long document.
But that's normally what we're looking for because it has all the information on it. We just need to go there, see the conditions, match it with the scanner, and go from there. So this is exactly what we need. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so easy to use. For me, that's what amazed me the first time we spoke, because it's so easy to use and it's so user-friendly that it's remarkable, the work you've been doing.
Thank you so much. And right now we have developed our conditional finder where you can search for these types of implants, as I told you before. So let's say the patient have a coronary stent, and then you can see all the coronary stents that we have in our database, and then the most restricted conditionals based on all of these implants right here. So that will give you a great overview of these implants. And right now, this is a very early beta version because we're still testing it on hospitals. And I think in about 2 months' time, a totally redesigned conditional finder is going to hit the market. So that's pretty cool.
Just a quick question, Simon. Those in red, are they not safe to scan, or why the color difference?
Yeah, so those with the red color is the most restrictive.
Okay.
So it's not because they're unsafe, and that is something we're going to change, because it can seem like these are unsafe and these are the conditionals.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. The red goes straight away. Okay, this is an alarm, don't do it. And the yellow ones is the conditional one, because as you know, the labeling that we use is green, red, and yellow. So
exactly.
My first thought was, okay, this is not scannable.
Yeah, exactly. So that was one of the things we found out when we went out to the departments. Like, okay, those in red, we have to change how we show which implants are being represented here in this table.
Okay.
So that's something we're also working on. But a total redesign is going to happen very shortly. So that's pretty cool. And actually, that's what our database can do right now. We are also working on a lot of other different features that are coming out. But we are onboarding 3 new hospitals after this summer. So everything is going to hit the production environment at the 1st of September. So then I'm going to show you a lot of more different things.
Wonderful. Probably we can do another one of these and discuss further
exactly.
how you're doing and the feedback and everything.
Yeah, exactly. As a startup, things are changing all the time, and we have developed tons of different features that we went out and tested to get some feedback, and some of them were pretty cool, and some of them were not cool. So we're still finding out what's important and what does the radiographer actually need.
Wonderful. Simon, just before we go, where can we find you? Where can you find Nordinsight? Just tell us your website, your socials, so everyone can just add you on and connect with you, so we can spread the message and can have Nordinsight all over the place.
Yeah, so you can go into our website, nordinsight.com, or find me on LinkedIn at Simon Elliott Thomassen. Yeah, I'm the CEO and founder of Nordinsight, together with my co-founder Matthias. So we are pretty easy to find. So yeah, connect with us on LinkedIn, write to me an email. I'm happy to give you guys a demo of our website.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Simon. Appreciate your time and your willingness to share all of this with us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samuel, for having me.
No problem.